Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri 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 Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai 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 Ram. Hari Om to everybody. Papa made us to dwell on the diary of an aspirant for the past 2-3 days. It is to reiterate the point that there is no divide between spiritual practice and mundane activities. Initially, when we are involved in all vyavaharic dealings, because we don't bring in the God dimension, we go to a spiritual preceptor who gives us in his own way the various facets of spirituality. We may not be able to assimilate the whole thing, but later on when we start going deeper into it, probably after a long time, we may slowly try to feel that the spirit is within us always. It is not that only when we start knowing about, when we meet a spiritual preceptor, when we start practicing something which he prescribes, or when we start going through the scriptures, that spirituality is spirit is dawning in us. No. Suddenly we realize the spirit has been with us. Then the struggle comes because all these years we have not practiced. Somehow there is a divide between these two. In spite of intellectually knowing that the spirit is within us. So this particular diary of an aspirant throws some light on this. That we should try. It may not be possible straight away. So first his preceptor, mentor, was observing how he was performing the puja. No doubt, many of us were or are doing puja. At that time, there is a set procedure. Normally, our attention will be on the various things that are required for the puja and the mantra and the ritualistic form of worship. Starting from avahanam, superimposition, there are various steps. But when this is over, no doubt, we feel that the deity has come out from our own mind and we have gone back to that, okay. But does it influence us in all our dealings? Fundamental question. So here the mentor says, while you are doing puja, simultaneously an effort should be made to raise the level of concentration. So he says, when you offer the flowers at his feet, your mind should not be on the bell, on various other perquisites or rituals or something like that. It should be concentrated on that particular one. From there, the narrative starts. When you show incense, when you offer naivedya, you must feel the living presence of the deity there. That means your level of concentration goes up and up. You are trying to unknowingly, withdraw your mind from the inert image to a full Chaitanya oriented, life oriented deity before us. So that is why he said, when you offer, you must feel that you are offering. You must feel that the incense that you are showing. He is absorbed by him, by the deity. So like that slowly from the puja, then he talks about he was observing how the aspirant was spreading his clothes after washing it. When it was not even, the end of it, he called him and said, is that the way to do that? It should be on the same line. Gives us a clue. The level of concentration throughout when we go through this, we find the level of concentration goes up and up, which will enable the mind to go inward. Then what are the things? Anybody remembers? Then he said, when we go for a particular job, when we are involved in a particular job, we have to ensure that the mind does not waver here and there. It does not get distracted here and there. You remember he mentioned, are you a monkey? No. Because it doesn't get... That means the level of concentration. You keep on thinking about this. Whatever we do, it should help us to raise our level of concentration. This is the whole theme. Then, picking flowers. Before that, he did not, the mentor did not ask him to do anything. But slowly, the aspirant was touched and kindled by the Lord to become more and more subservient to the mentor. So he asked, what should I do? So then he said, you pick flowers and give it to me for my early morning puja. So that means it is not the puja or the... What the mentor wanted was, he has to get up early in the morning, have his bath, answer to the nature call, and then pick up whatever is necessary, go to the garden, and pick everything. So by 3:30 to 4 or 4:30 he has to get up, The first lesson. One has to be up and doing during the early hours of the morning. Without telling that, he put him on an assignment. That assignment gives him indirect message. Then he moves from there to reduce man's necessities to the barest minimum, so that we will not be disturbed when we are not in comfort zones. He was narrating it, Simplification of life. We may be having so many things, but if the simplification of life gets stabilized in us, we will not be attached to it. When it is offered, okay. If it is not, it is taken out, okay. And from there, he moves to, he also talks about that broomstick, Nothing is irrelevant. Nothing is insignificant. And he also gives us a subtle message for a spiritual aspirant that nothing should be asked to make our work easy. In his mind, he was having a desire to have a long broomstick, because otherwise he has to bend. So it affects his comforts. But the mentor was very particular to caution, no, as a monk, you have to manage with whatever you have. The subtle message, it is not simplification only. So these are, slowly the mentor is giving which are the prerequisites for a spiritual aspirant to really go inward. Again and again we have to read this, because the absorption or assimilation should be such that it stays with us. He also makes something controversial for us, apparently controversial. He was doing it with his left hand because he was a left-hander. Then he said you should use right hand. What is the difference between right hand and left hand? Normally we will say that, in good old times, so many people were telling. He immediately brushed aside and said, do you think the old people were fools? Left-handers were there also, at that time. So certain things have been prescribed. Beautiful that word. Left hand is an assistant to the right hand. So and he also said, if you don't want to go, you can do it. But if you think that there must be some reason behind it, then you will do exactly. You will try to. Here you should also know he doesn't tom this, He was only individually addressing an aspirant who should not take everything easy. I am a left-hander, I will do like this, But strangely, this aspirant, got used to do it to the right hand. So whether it is right hand or left hand, that is not the matter here. subservience to a mentor, unqualified. And then, from there, even a stub of a pencil, it should not be thrown out. Then he says about stick to one guru. He was talking about, when we serve the guru, how he chose to take that 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the morning session. It's a wonderful lesson, Whatever is taken out from others, we don't grumble, Whatever is left out, we try to do it. That means in service, there should not be any preference, any preconceived notion. I will do this, this is called service. No. When he went to Bhagavan's devotees and offered, they said, which time you choose? He said, you all choose, and what is left out to give it to me. So between 10 o'clock in the night to 4 o'clock in the morning, there was no taker at that time. So immediately he said, I will do it. The message is, the more we think about it, we feel that there is no preference. It may be difficult for all of us to understand and implement, but still, as an ideal, we will keep it and try as much as possible. Though he gave a lecture that there should be 100% obedience to Guru, he also added later that you should grow with your own intelligence. There the message comes, then only we will be sincere throughout. Otherwise, part of the mind will always have, why? I have reverence for my mentor. He has pointed out something. But if I intelligently go through that, then we get convinced, until such time it is the Guru's words, it has not become mine. But the same Guru's words, when I try to go within with that, it becomes mine. Wonderful message, every small incident, so when we go deeper, ponder, what is the theme behind the lines, behind the words, between the lines, Yeah, that is the word. Apparently, this is the incident. He told something. But we do a lot of thinking, What else? How can I implement? I am not directly under any mentor. So then we start thinking, whatever we do, we have heard that it should be done like this. Why we are not successful all these decades? We look at ourselves. We keep on repeating Papa's words, Mataji's words, Mahatma's words. What is happening to me? Because still it is their word. It has not become mine. Papa keeps on telling us, but we have not understood it. He emphatically said, even if Ramdas says, don't do it, unless you join, you understand it through your own reflection. Initially, it was difficult for us to understand. Because normally when we praise our Guru on a high pedestal, whatever he says, we unquestioningly accept. It is nice to say that, flowery words. But it has not become mine. It is still his words. Whereas every word of his became his first, then only he gave it to others. We have to do it. Subtle thinking, then only it will become possible for us to understand. Out of our reverence, out of our sentimental, emotional connection, we may accept that. But why we have not been able to proceed further? Still the me and mine is intact, Now we realize It has not become mine. So he says, develop through one's own intelligence. Simple living. And then he comes to this cooking. Cooking, washing the plate, no. And even when you cook, he says, it is something which we can easily understand. Those who have been privileged to stay alone and cook, they can easily understand that. That we will manage with the minimum utensils, minimum items. Because one has to clean, Suppose you have got a utensil for a sambar and for rasam and for this and for that. After eating, all these things have to be cleared. So automatically you will find simplification of life. We are satisfied with simple thing, and one curry, he said, one curry, one rice or something like that. And while preparing it, you will not cut your finger because cutting your vegetable. Throughout this, he also mentions about the Shraddha with which we have to do. While normally we say that we should do everything in a calm and quiet way, there also he corrects. We should be careful while doing everything and at the same time quick. When the dedication comes to us, these two will go side by side. We are talking about sleeping during daytime. Dullness. He said dullness will be the result, which will not be conducive for going within. We all know that, no? Immediately, with reluctance only we get up. And for some time to come, it takes some time for us to become again one with this stream, mainstream of life, mainstream of our activity. Then, how should we manage with even simple things, We were talking about the cleaning of the vessel, with the soap. Then he said, use sand, little soap. So when we started thinking about it, it becomes very clear, those who have done a little bit of manually doing it will know, that suppose there is an oily part, it will not go easily. So you have to do it again and again and again and check up whether the oily content has gone. So there unknowingly we are aiming at perfection. There is concentrated involvement. And at the same time we are not wasting anything. We are not buying a thing called soap and doing something. Little bit of soap. But that with we were all using this what do you call it? Coconut shell, No, when you take the coconut from the full the coir part. And in good old days there was nothing like a vim or something like that, so we used to have brick powder and ashes. We take it from our oven every day and mix it up and then do like this, and it will become pakka clean. So he is reminding us, we are all in the clusters of consumerism. Every day, we see something in the paper or something, immediately we rush up to that. Nothing wrong in not using it or using it. But we become an addict. We don't bring in all these dimensions, And then, there we have reached. We have come to that, massage?
Mentally aloof, remain mentally aloof. Don't get identified with the word.
On what activity he said?
He was helping us.
Bhagavan's Ramana. Mentor was talking about his experience with Ramana. So when he was doing the massaging, he was sharing it to this aspirant, This is another way, Whatever we have received and whatever we have thrilled because of that, inspired, we pass it on to them. We pass it on to the next people. So while massaging, we may do over. So Bhagavan was observing and he said, detach yourself from doing it. It may be difficult for us to understand. But we can still try. So the massaging again comes here. He himself asked the aspirant to do the massaging. After we finished our meals, 5 minutes, he had laid down on a mat to rest. They were in the same room. I started to clean up the corner of the room we had used as a kitchen. I squatted as I removed the plates and thought, why do you squat like that? If you stand up and bend at the waist to do the work on the ground, you will stretch your leg muscles, make your nerves stronger, which in turn will remove the dullness of your nervous system. If dullness and restlessness are removed, meditation will flow faster. Where from it starts and where it ends, So my bending and cleaning is related to preparing for my effective meditation. I did as he said, went out to clean the pots. I took some soap powder and started to scrub. Of course, bending at the waist. See, we are monks, we cannot afford to use soap in such a wasteful way. If you take some dry soft sand and use it instead of a soap, it will remove the oil and dust and will not cost us anything. Yesterday I saw you cleaning a bottle which had contained oil. You wasted so much soap. If you just pour dry sand into it, shake it up, stick a twig inside it and twist it around, how minutely he observed. All of the oil sticking on the side is removed, then just a bit of soap is necessary to make it absolutely clean. I was starting to feel a little choked up. It seemed that I did not know how to do anything properly, and he knew everything properly. I was afraid to move an inch, lest even my walking should prove to be wrong. I finished washing the utensils and put them on the shelf. He looked to see if I had put them with their mouth facing down, so that it become dry, Fortunately, I had that much common sense. I lay down and started to fall asleep. Hey, sleeping. It is not so good to sleep in the daytime. If you sleep after sunrise or before sunset, the body gets overheated. Instead of feeling refreshed, you will feel drowsy and jaded. If you are feeling tired, you can just wash your face and arms and lay down for some time, repeating the divine name. Don't close your eyes. Perhaps I should not breathe, I thought. Before Bhaiji, a saint who was visiting Ratnamji for a few days, left. Before he left, Bhaiji left. He took me aside and told me that I was really fortunate to have Ratnamji as my guide on the spiritual path. He explained to me that Ratnamji was a saint of a high order and that I should not be fooled by his humble appearance and actions. It was about 11 o'clock by the time I felt sleepy, was about to lie down. Ratnamji, who was already lying down, called me and told me that it would be better to clean the remaining 1 or 2 pots now so that time could be saved tomorrow. He was about to sleep. Grudgingly I did as he said, then started to lie down again, all the time thinking that I must get up at 3:30 in the next morning. I had just sat down on my mat when he called and asked if I would press his legs as they were hurting. I had read that it is a great blessing to be allowed to touch the body of real saints, and as a mark of favor, some saints ask their devotees to press their legs. I felt quite happy to be given this, but I kept falling asleep. Why did you stop? Finally, it seemed as if Ratnamji was asleep, so I quietly got up and went to lie down. Why did you stop? He called out. Again I got up, this time not so eagerly. Somehow I managed to stay awake until he asked me to go and lie down. As soon as my head touched the pillow, I was fast asleep. Around 1 o'clock, Ratnamji called me. I am feeling cold. Is there a blanket here? Of course, he knew that there was only one blanket, a cotton one, which I was using. I covered him with it and lying down again, I took off my dhoti, covered my body lengthwise with it. It is surprising how warm such a thin cloth can be when you are cold. For a pillow, I used my clothes wrapped up in a bundle or simply slept on my arm, folded under my head. Though a bit uncomfortable at first, I got used to it and after some time actually felt happy that I could manage it so little. It was an important step towards becoming unaffected by circumstances. Now this is a subtle meaning. Not that using a pillow is bad or a crime. But when a situation comes when there is no pillow, I will not grumble and come. So even while using a pillow, I should see that I don't become an addict, I don't become a slave to that. Half of our peace of mind is lost due to reaction to circumstances. Half of our peace of mind is lost due to our reaction to circumstances, our lack of adaptability. Adapting ourselves to the new circumstances, The request of God gives us this more. Now look at ourselves, what is happening to us. All these things we hear, But if anything is denied to us what we are enjoying now, or what we are possessing now, or what we are using now, what is our instant reaction? Half of our peace of mind is lost due to our reaction to circumstances, our lack of adaptability. One who wants nothing, or who is ready to manage with whatever is available, will be happy everywhere. Ratnamji was trying to teach me this lesson through practical experience. If he had said that one should manage with the minimum but never created such a situation, another important clue, he is asking so many things from him, We may think, why should he be disturbed at 1 o'clock? Why should he be asked to give the, blanket? The only blanket he had. It may look, paradoxical. It may, apparently, it doesn't go along with it, We don't go along with it. Why should he do that? But he has correctly understood it. Ratnamji was trying to teach me this lesson. Managing with my own dhoti. If this is not done, how will I manage with my own dhoti? So Ratnamji was trying to teach me this lesson through practical experience. If he had said that one should manage with the minimum, but never created such a situation, how would I have direct knowledge or experience of it? And without practicing and experiencing it again and again, how could I understand its effect on the mind and the consequent spiritual progress? This is what, it should become mine. Everything should become mine, then only it will. Otherwise, it will be academic, it will give me some satisfaction, that's all. But when I am put to test, I may fail. A small thing, when somebody has taken unknowingly, he will make such a big fuss, Complaining, grumbling. There are many instances that are happening here also, How could I understand its effect on the mind and the consequent spiritual? By making me stay awake when I was ready to go to sleep. He was trying to teach me to go beyond attachment to sleep even. Also, every situation gave me an opportunity to be either selfish or selfless, as well as to develop patience and to control anger. How many negative tendencies fill the mind can be known only occasionally during our day-to-day life, but in the company of saints, whatever good or bad is within us soon comes out. It is of course up to the disciple to use these facts for his spiritual betterment by controlling the negative qualities and cultivating the positive ones. If while in a sage's company one comes to understand how one's mind works and learns how to control it, then even the workaday world will be able to live. Even in the workaday world, one will be able to live peacefully. If one survives on the battlefield, wherever he goes afterwards will be a heaven in comparison. When we were going through this, we all have many a time shared what Vinobaji said about dedication of our entire activities, to God. In his commentary on the 15th chapter, he says, we see countless objects in the world. They are to be divided into three categories. When a bhakta gets up in the morning, he has only three things in mind. First, he remembers the Lord. Then he makes preparation for his worship. The bhakta is the servant, while the Lord is the one who should be served. Next line is very important. Rest of the creation is the means of worship. Unknowingly, we have limited only certain things as means of worship. It exists to provide. It stands for creation. Entire creation is the means. And it exists to provide flowers, incense, sandalwood paste for the worship. So probably we can say this is a rehearsal, no? When we do Saguna Puja, it is a rehearsal that I should be able to stretch the same mental frame in all my activities. Because the Lord is not only in the deity, the Lord is there everywhere. And He has given all these creation as an article of His worship, for His worship. So even when I eat on a banana leaf, and after the eating, suppose I throw it, it can't be a worship. You all remember Gandhiji's incident in Kunur, no? For the sake of newcomers, we will share it tomorrow again. For the sake of newcomers, yes. Gandhiji and the big entourage was going. Finally, they reached a place called Kunur in Tamil Nadu. It was already 2:30 or 3 o'clock. Everybody was hungry. The host, has prepared everything. So everybody, on a banana leaf, and they all had their meals. Immediately after that, they stretched their body. After some time, somebody looked. Gandhiji was not in his place. So he got up and searched. Many of the banana leaves were thrown here and there. There was a pit nearby. Gandhiji was taking every leaf and putting it there. Immediately he rushed up, made others to get up, apologized. He said, somebody has to do it now. Because to Gandhiji, nothing was unimportant, nothing was insignificant, nothing was irrelevant, Instead of giving a lecture, when he showed it by himself, and when it was read by us through some books, it just got imprinted in our heart, So we will be careful while handling anything, not to treat anything lightly, We may fail, we may forget. But it is there in the subconscious state. So we will try to do as much as possible. So the throwing, I only felt that, the banana leaf is for my eating. After eating, finished. I forget that it was the banana leaf that facilitated me to have the beautiful meal. So with a reverence, with a touch of reverence, with a touch of love, I should be able to take the banana leaf and deposit it in the place where it should be deposited. So throwing, I would not have meant it in a negative way, but now I know that it was, in effect, taking me away from him. So like that, Vinobaji says in the 15th chapter, every action, nice to read, but when we go through this diary, we find, he tries to bring in the small, It is not a general statement. Specific. All of us are handling many things in a day. So it's a reminder, We don't need a text. We don't need a institution. We don't need a tradition. We don't need anything. The object is there. All that is needed is to lovingly, with a touch of love we hand, with a touch of gratitude we hand, with a touch of seriousness we hand. Nothing is irrelevant. Nothing is unimportant. Nothing is insignificant. So we are praying to Papa now. We have facilitated all these things. Let it get stamped in our mind so that, it slowly percolates in all our activities. And finally enabling us to move towards you faster. Because we all know that this will finally help us to raise our level of concentration, which is absolutely a must to go within. Where we have to remove one by one. This is the way by which, we can remove what all we have put on ourselves, which is preventing us to become aware of His presence within. This is the purpose why He motivated us to do so. So we will intensify that prayer. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om.